I just thought maybe you guys might want some ASMR of me,
Of you
of me
slurping that shit.
slurping down his tea.
That sucked. Here,
That
let me
literally
give you
sounded
some.
like a fart.
Let me give you some good tingles.
Sus. What do you be listening to, Lon?
Just ASMR.
So we couldn't come up with anything for episode 14, huh? For the
Yeah.
little pun. But
Nothing.
yeah, so this is 14, motherfuckers.
Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Upvote.
Yeah. You
We-
already know.
Yeah, we did change a few things. Mainly not me because I don't do shit. But this guy put up a couple few things, cleared some stuff up. This is new. That's also new. The Upvote license plate looks pretty sick.
Yeah, we had that last time, but it was on this side, so the podcast one is new.
Oh.
But anyway, yeah, switch some things up. I'm your main host, Kevy Kevs.
And
I feel like I always say that. I always say Kevy
Kevy
Kevs.
Kevs.
I'm your main host, Kevin. And then we got our other host, Ivan Gonzalez. And then it's just going to be the two of us today. Bestie was busy. Her birthday's coming up tomorrow. So exciting for her. Exciting.
So excited.
We'll see if we do like a future tipsy episode now that she'll be 21.
Of age.
Okay, so for this episode, guys, we're doing scary stories again.
Part 2.
Finally, after like 2 episodes, huh?
Yeah, because we did. What was the other one?
So like a Valentine's Day one, and then just another one with Monica.
Right.
Yeah, so we're gonna do another scary episode, guys. Just so you guys know, I've been a little sick these past couple of days. I'm feeling better, but if my voice sounds a little off or a little raspy, or if my big ass be breathing a little deeper than usual, you guys know why. But I got my tea with honey, so we'll see how this episode goes. Is there anything you want to add, Ivan, before we jump into these stories?
I got nothing.
Okay, so I think we can just start then.
Yep.
Let me see. I have a couple, but I want to see which ones we end up doing. Okay, we'll start with this one. It's a little quick. Okay. Again, this one comes from Scary Stories. They're fiction, so probably not true, but still spooky. Okay, so for this first story, at the beginning, it has like a couple paragraphs kind of just saying that they tried posting this on a different subreddit, got taken down, but they're saying that this is 100% true, happened to them, and they want to know if anybody else has experienced this type of phenomenon. So I'm just going to jump right into the story. My mother called to me in the night. So let's begin. When I was young, 9 to 10, we moved around a lot. Witness protection. We spent most of my childhood bouncing around hotels, or if we were lucky enough, we would get to stay at a house for a short time. I remember one night shortly after being settled into a new house in Alberta, I was in bed and it was the dead of the night and everyone was asleep. As often the case with a new house, it takes me a long time to fall asleep. I like to figure out the house's night noises, creaking, air ducts, etc. But this night, something occurred that me and my mother both still talk about to this day. As I lay in bed, around 1 a.m., I heard my mom call to me from the kitchen. So I hopped out of bed and poked my head out the bedroom and started making my way down the hall towards the kitchen. The only light on in the house was the kitchen light. As I walked down the hall, I passed my siblings' bedroom doors and my parents' bedroom door. I heard my mom call to me again from the kitchen. At this point, I'm right at the end of the hall, not more than 3 paces away from the kitchen doorway. When I hear my mom, from her bedroom, say, "Go back to bed," I heard it too. At that point, I became terrified and ran to my room and hid under the blankets, while my mom woke Dad up to search the house. They found nothing. Those of you who have had a similar experience, let's talk about it. I'm certain that if my mother didn't hold me back that night, something would have happened to me.
Goddamn Bagul is gonna snatch his ass up.
That's creepy. That just reminds me. I was talking to my mom about this today because I actually kind of read this story to her.
Mm-hmm.
And I was just telling her there was this time that she was going. I don't know if it was to church, but point is she was going out, and no one else was here at home. So we were kind of talking, and I was laying in one of these spare bedrooms, and it sounded like my mom was in the kitchen, you know. And I don't recall her saying bye to me or anything. So I was watching. I was on TikTok, like always. I swear I spend too much time on TikTok.
I mean, we all do.
But I was on TikTok and I found a funny video, and I wanted to show it to my mom. So I'm like calling her name out, and she didn't answer. But I'm like, okay, I guess I'll get up and go show her the video. So I walk across the house, crossing the kitchen and everything to get to their bedroom, for their bathroom, and she wasn't home. But I could swear on my life that she was, because it sounded like rustling, you know, when someone's in the bathroom getting ready, like maybe her hairbrush getting put down, or like moving around makeup or something. And like I got a little scared because I like felt like someone was there, and I thought it was my mom, you know. So this story just kind of reminds me of that. I don't think I've ever like, or actually I have. Don't you feel like sometimes you feel like someone called your name?
Yeah.
And you almost hear it so clearly, you're like, you know. But they're like, no, I never called for you.
Yeah. I think it was. I think it was like the first week of when I moved into my house, and the only thing I had in the house was literally just my mattress, not even a bed frame or anything, not even like a what are they, or like a box?
A box spring?
Yeah, a box spring. I didn't even have that. It was just a mattress on the floor, and in that time, I'm pretty sure my mom like came over like twice, and then she said, "Oh, I'm gonna come back again tomorrow," and I was like, "Okay, cool." And then I wake up in the morning, and I'm in the bathroom, and then I hear Ivan like come outside. I was like, okay.
You thought it was your mom.
I thought it was my mom because it sounded like my mom. I was like, okay. It was like I didn't even hear the door open, and then I look and see and was like, what the heck?
That's honestly scary because you just hear it so clearly. It's like, okay, you know.
Like,
and then
okay,
you obviously
yeah, like
have it in mind. My mom said she was coming today, you know.
like I just blindly went out there and started looking. Was like, what the heck?
Yeah.
And then I started checking like all the rooms, the closets, the bathrooms, because each and every single room has their own personal bathroom. I was like, what the fuck?
That's creepy, especially.
And then I hear like a knock on
the
the door, and then it's my mom, and I was like,
and then she got there like after you looked everywhere. That's creepy, and just more so too because you had just moved in. You're still kind of getting used to the house. Okay, I'm gonna move on to this next story, so we can get through a couple.
And then we can do some bantering or.
Yeah. Okay. The one thing that happened in my life I'll never be able to explain. My grandparents adopted me at the age of 5 due to poor living conditions at my mom's house and the challenges of caring for too many children. When I was around 13, my grandpa got his first smartphone. One night with just me and him at home, he showed me pictures of himself sleeping on the couch before his night shift as a security guard. What creeped me out was that the photos taken from above were from 45 minutes ago, suggesting someone had taken them while he was unaware. We searched the house for signs of a break-in, but found nothing. It remains one of the creepiest experiences, and I can't explain it.
Dude, that's even more creepy because the fact that like he has those saved and he doesn't even know how that happened.
How creepy would it be if like you're scrolling through your phone, let's say you go to your photos or whatever, and then you see photos of like yourself, and like let's say you know you've been alone for the past little bit, you know, and you see photos of yourself, you know, on your phone. Like how creepy would that be? I'd be freaked out. I would honestly like, and then not being able to explain it, and then no one was in the house, and then obviously the one telling the story, he didn't take the pictures. And obviously, how is the grandpa going to take pictures of himself from above? You know,
Didn't that happen
that happened to you.
to me?
Yeah, I remember it was a while back. We had slept over at one of our cousins' houses, and then we
Oh
were
yeah,
like
we
took
were
a picture. We were
downstairs.
downstairs in the basement, and we
Mm-hmm.
like because they had like TV down there, and we were watching movie. No, we were playing cards. We were playing cards, and I don't know if it was on my phone or on your own phone.
Oh, it was
Someone.
on the white Nokia that I had.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. We took a picture of you, and like we didn't notice until the next day, right?
Mm-hmm.
That it was like there was like this figure next to him,
Black figure,
and
like
Ivan's like, "No, that was our cousin. That was our cousin," but it did not look like her at all. And they literally, when we took that picture, the three of us were like behind the camera, you know, so no one was next to him when we took that picture, and we got creeped out. And I remember we showed our grandma. And she's just like, you just need to start praying. Essentially saying that Ivan had like an evil spirit attached to him or something like that.
I was like, Grandma, you crazy? No, I'm kidding.
And I'm just glad we didn't see that picture till the next day, because I feel like if I had seen that picture that night, I probably wouldn't have been able to sleep.
No, yeah, I'm pretty sure I would have told my mom like, "Hey, come pick me up."
Literally. It was just one of those creepy things.
And even more so, the fact that Grandma said, "Yeah, just start praying so that way the evil spirits go away." And out of everyone, she tells me in specific, and I was like, "Okay."
Well, I mean, the picture was of you, and the weird thing was next to you.
I mean, I thought it was just because of the reputation I had built.
Okay, and I'm doing another story now.
Hell yeah.
Please read. I want to know if this has happened to anyone else. This is a true story with small details added to make it better. Sorry, you guys. So growing up, I have always been really close to all of my cousins. I was hanging out with all of the girl cousins on my mom's side, and someone brought up sleep paralysis. This topic has never been discussed between any of us, so it was all pretty new. Everyone is between 9 and 14 years old, and we can handle talking about this. That is when my 11-year-old cousin brings up her sleep paralysis and what she experiences. I wake up in my bed and see a man leaning over the end of my bed. He isn't identifiable, but I can clearly see he is a person. He walks over to my chair that is directly in front of my bed and sits down, continuously staring at me. I take a few seconds to blink and shut my eyes because that's the only thing I can do. Mind you, this is her first time experiencing this. My eyes are closed and I slowly open them, and he's standing on my bed, leaning over and staring at my face, so close to the point I can touch him if I stuck my tongue out. I close my eyes again and feel slow and warm tears drip down my cheeks. Or so I thought. I look up and see this man drooling on me with a terrifying smile. I close my eyes again and start praying for him to leave. He then gets closer to my face, practically touching me, and whispers, "That won't work." Terrified as I am, I snap out of it, and then the man is gone. As soon as she told me that story, my heart sunk, and before I could say anything, my older cousin said the exact same thing happened to her a few months ago. I don't know, I just feel that is really weird, and does anyone have any answers? Nah! Fuck, man. I hate that you're not jumpy. Fuck you.
I mean, it takes a lot more.
Yeah. I don't think I'll put that in, but I tried scaring Ivan, but he's not very, like, he's a scaredy cat.
Okay, no, so
He a little bitch.
I
But it's hard to get you to, like, jump scare.
Okay, so here's my thing. I'm not like, like that. When the reason why I absolutely hate watching like scary movies, like Bagul and all the
That's the second time you mentioned Bagul today.
Sorry, it's the only one that comes up to in my head, or like The Nun or The Conjuring or any of those movies. Mm-hmm. It's because it's paranormal. Like, it could be real, it couldn't be real. We don't know.
Kind of like what we were saying first scary story episode.
Yeah, the
paranormal.
Back to what I was saying. Yeah,
it's kind of
it literally could or could not be. when I look at, like, let's say, what was that? A really gory movie, like
Saw.
I haven't even seen Saw.
Oh.
Terrifier.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that one
very
was
gory.
super gory, super bloody. Yeah. When it comes to that stuff, no, like. I've literally seen Grandpa kill a goat right in front of us just so that way we could eat it. Like, that's nothing. So
It's just more the paranormal stuff.
it's more of the
the
known
horror stuff.
The unknown
paranormal.
could be known, right?
Yeah, and it's just kind of like, what would you do?
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Like, oh, what? I'm gonna start praying to Jesus? Is Jesus gonna save me now?
This guy.
I mean, hopefully he does.
I was gonna say. Hold on, let me take a sip of this.
Yeah, keep on drinking that leaf juice with honey.
Yeah, it's hurt my throat, so it doesn't sound so raspy.
Put some whiskey in it, you'll feel better.
No, thank you.
It's called a hot toddy.
I've heard that whiskey is like the liquor that gives you the worst hangover. Like, obviously you can get a hangover with any liquor, you know, and especially if you're mixing and stuff. Mm-hmm. But out of all the liquors, I was seeing that whiskey is the hardest for your body to process. So you have worse hangovers.
I mean, if you're a little bitch, then yeah, sure.
Man, whatever.
I drink that shit like if it was water.
But going back to the story, what do you think of sleep paralysis? Have you ever had it?
Maybe. The reason why I say maybe, it's because I probably did, or it might have just felt like a dream, like a really like nightmarish dream. But then again, like I probably would have forgotten about it because it either happened so long ago or something, you know. Mm-hmm. I haven't had like a really bad nightmare to the point where it felt real, or in my head it felt real, where I literally was looking at myself at third person, or like an out of body experience to the point where like I can actually see a paralysis demon or whatever in front of me, you know. Mm-hmm. Have you?
I have. I used to, not recently. It's been years since it's happened to me.
Right?
Okay, my bad. I thought the camera stopped, but it's just being weird. But I haven't went to go check on that. So back to it. I used to experience sleep paralysis. More when I was like a kid. I'd say maybe between 8 and 10, I'm guessing. But the thing is, as I've said on this podcast before, my brothers used to scare me a lot.
Oh, yeah, I remember.
Yeah, and like they'd lie to me about watching a movie and it'd be a scary movie, and like just did a lot of traumatizing things. But anyway, so I would sleep with my parents a lot because I was too scared to sleep alone, way too scared to sleep alone. And back then my parents had this like huge like wood frame for their mattress. So their bed was like really high up.
Headboard?
Yeah, headboard. Thank you. But it was like super tall, and I would sleep on the floor next to my mom on my mom's side. And the thing is, like, my mom used to fall asleep, or like help me fall asleep by holding my hand. So she'd kind of sleep on her side and just have her arm drooped over the side of the bed, and I'd hold her hand until I fell asleep. And that's
no,
literally no, but she used to do that for me, and I just remember I used to like get sleep paralysis a lot. And one that like I remember so vividly just because I think it was one of like the worst ones. So with sleep paralysis, I don't know if it's like a rule, but whenever I had it, I couldn't move anything. So it's paralysis, you know. Mm-hmm. The only thing I could move was like my eyes and like breathe. But obviously like I couldn't move my hand. I couldn't like stick out my tongue like that story. I couldn't like move at all. But like there'd be like this figure, because of the headboard. They also had it like, what's it called when it's like the headboard, the bed, and then there's another piece of wood? Like the footboard.
I don't know.
It's just a piece of wood in front of the bed. It's like essentially like a headboard, but like a little smaller.
For your feet.
Yeah, and so I would sleep on the side, so it'd kind of be covering, and I would see this figure like peek out of the headboard to where I was and look at me.
Wait, from the foot from.
Yeah. So I'd be laying
Okay.
down, and when I'd like look essentially like across the room where the bed is, it looked like something was peering out at me. Like it'd be a hand at first, and then it kind of like peek through, like I was so scared. And in those, like when I would get sleep paralysis, I'd want to scream. Like in my head, I was screaming super loud, like calling out to my mom, but like obviously I'm not actually like screaming, and like no sound would come out. And then I would keep looking over at my mom, and her hand was like drooped over, and I was like trying to reach out for her hand, and I couldn't grab it because I had fucking sleep paralysis. But it's just the scariest feeling. I haven't had sleep paralysis in years, thankfully, because that shit's scary. But yeah, I used to get it a lot, and that's kind of essentially my sleep paralysis would usually always be like that same thing over and over. Sometimes it'd be different, but it was essentially just that every single time. And I would tell my mom about it, and like in all our I don't know what you call it, culture.
Yeah.
They say that sleep paralysis is when cuando se te sube un muerto. So that means like when a dead person gets on top of you. I mean, probably not like sexually.
Hey, yeah.
Not sexually, but I guess a dead guy just climbs onto you or some shit like that.
Like latches onto you.
Yeah, or like they're like, I don't know. That's how they say it. I don't know what they literally mean by it, but it's like essentially like a dead guy's on you or something. And like, I'm like, why would you tell me that? That doesn't make it any better, you know?
Yeah, that just makes things worse. Like, lie to me, goddammit.
But yeah, she's just telling me like, oh, just pray before you go to sleep. But yeah, I had it for a while. But that's just because if you think back, all the like scary shit my brothers would do to me. And like I've said, you're lucky I'm not vindictive, or else I'd do the same to your kids. But I'm a good uncle, at least for the most part.
Yeah, I mean, you're a lot better than most.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
You're welcome.
That's actually why I'm sick, because I had my nephew sleep over last weekend, and one of them was sick.
Yeah, see, world's greatest uncle.
I don't know about greatest, but I mean, hopefully they think so. Let's see. Do you have any scary story that you want to share with us? Because I have one. So I think that'll be it for the Reddit stories. But I have another one for sure. I don't know if Vaughn has one.
Scary stories or like nightmares?
Or just creepy things or nightmare or anything creepy, you know?
Not necessarily like they are dreams, but like just the thought and possibility that these could be true. Just, I guess, like messes in my head a lot. Like, what is it? What's recent? What happened recently that I started thinking about? I don't know why, but I don't necessarily dream. I do a lot of daydreaming. Like, my brain just shuts off when I'm working, and then somehow like
this guy drives for work. I'm just kidding.
No, like when
not shut off. You just kind of like you get thinking about.
You're conscious of the work that you're doing, and you're just thinking in your head a lot. Like,
it's like when they say that you're driving, and you know you're driving good. You know you're obviously following all the rules and doing everything you're doing. Mm-hmm. But then like you get home and you're kind of like, how did I get home?
Yeah, it was like one of those moments. But when I'm like literally doing my job, right? Mm-hmm. I don't know why, but in my head, I started thinking, like, how come I really didn't have like dreams growing up, and like just thinking to myself, what did I dream about? And then I started remembering I tried to remember some of the dreams that I had. And one dream that kept on popping up was, sorry, camera cut off again, or something. I don't know. I'm not a tech guy. I'm just...
Neither am I.
A funny man. They point the camera at me, and I make people laugh sometimes.
You make magic then, Ivan?
I wish. Be selling that. No, I'm joking. Cut that out.
What were you talking about? What was the last thing you said? Something fell. You thought it probably hit your head.
I can't remember where I was at, which house I lived in, because Our family used to move around a lot. Um, Something hit my head like in the middle of the night, and somehow I'm like
Knocked out.
knocked out, like knocked the fuck out. And I started dreaming about I was in like Utah Lake, and you can walk for a good hot minute before it starts getting up to here, right?
Yeah.
And I don't
It's
know
very
why.
shallow.
Yeah. I don't know why, but somehow I was like standing on top of the water. I was walking on water, and I was carrying around like a cement block with a chain wrapped around my legs.
Oh my gosh.
And then uh like the sky was red, like black, like a blood moon was going on. I don't know, some freaky deaky shit. And then I see like a silhouette or a shadow, and they just point at me, and then they point down, and then I'm just like just moving my head in my head, but my body's like continuously moving. Like I'm not in control. Someone else is in control of my body, and I throw the cement block, and it goes pretty out far, and then somehow it like curves and then just goes like all the way fucking down, like if it was like bombing down. And then I'm just standing there, and then I see the like you know how like in cartoons they have like a rope, and I don't know, like Bugs Bunny like throws something and it's actually like super heavy, and then you see the rope going in circles.
Mhm.
It was like that, but with like a chain, and I was like 14 at the time, and I see that thing going on for like a minute, and then it starts dragging me, and then I'm like like trying to crawl, grab something, but I'm like drowning and shit, and then all of a sudden, but yeah, like, as soon as like it started dragging me, and then I was going down with it. You remember what was that show called? Courage the Cowardly Dog.
That was my favorite show.
There was an episode where like he's going into a fishbowl or something, or he's in the ocean, and then he's like trying to save Mariel or something. It felt like that. Like I was just going down, and then I kept on seeing like the shadow figure there, and he's just standing there with I don't know what it looked like, but his eyes started glowing somehow, even though he's like all blacked out, and I was just like freaking out. So that's why I'm a little bit like terrified of like, is this like a paralysis demon type of bullshit, or
maybe if you're saying like you couldn't, in your dream you weren't in control of your body.
uh-huh.
I mean, I don't know the specifics of sleep paralysis and all that type of stuff, or who knows, maybe it's just nightmares. But
Yeah.
that's
Or
creepy.
more importantly, for like sleep paralysis, is it when you're just like in your room, or
They just say when you go to sleep, your body, like, essentially when you're sleeping, your body kind of gets paralyzed in a sense because you're not using it, so it goes to sleep, I guess.
well, yeah, hence the name paralysis, right?
Yeah.
But what I'm trying to say, like, for people, like, let's say they're doing tests on it, right? Are they're looking at you, you're in the dream, like, you go into sleep paralysis. Are your eyes still open but your body's asleep, or is it like, okay,
It's just like you're sleeping. So to any normal person, it just looks like you're asleep.
but your eyes are closed?
Yeah. So
Okay, because
you look
I
like
always
you're
thought
asleep.
like, oh, you're in
Oh, you
sleep.
thought your eyes would be open?
Mhm.
No, you're literally asleep. So everything that's happening in your dream and going on in your dream is,
Like if you were experiencing
like if
it,
you
if
were
you
just-
were awake. Okay,
yeah.
that makes sense.
it just feels like you're awake type of thing.
Mm.
You kind of feel aware of it, but it feels so scary. Like, I don't even know how to explain it really. Like, it's just that feeling of like sheer terror. I used to sleepwalk.
No way.
Yeah,
No, you fucking
my
didn't.
brother's literally a witness. He's a victim to it. So, again, when I was little,
Mm-hmm.
my dad. So in my house we have 4 bedrooms. My parents' bedroom, obviously. Then we have 3 bedrooms, and at that time one of them was my brother's, another one was mine, and then the other bedroom was kind of like an extra room.
Like a guest room.
Yeah. But my dad was like, I guess remodeling them a little bit, like giving them a fresh coat of paint and, just fixing them up a bit.
Mm-hmm.
So he worked on those 2 rooms simultaneously. And so I had to stay and share a room with my brother. But the thing is, my brother is like 10 years older than me.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, so I think I was like 8. So he was probably like around 18. And I didn't believe him at first, but he said that the first time I ever did it, I sat up in bed with my eyes closed. But he said that I was like whispering to my pillow. That I was like talking to my pillow. And he thought that I was just messing around trying to scare him. So he like tells me like, hey, stop, go to sleep. But like I just kept going and going. He's like, hey, and then he says he threw a pillow at me, but I just kept doing the exact same thing. And that's when he saw that I was like asleep. And then he said it got so bad that I would get out of bed and go to like, it was actually in this room. And I would go to like the wall and whisper stuff to the wall. And then I'd walk back to the bed and
go back to sleep.
And I guess he said that our cousins didn't believe him, like his age group of cousins didn't believe him that I did that. And I guess one night they were out and they went to go watch a movie, I think he had said. So they got home late and I think they were just dropping him off, but he told them, hey, come inside. Maybe he's sleepwalking so you guys can witness it for yourselves. So 2 of them walk in with him and supposedly that I was sleeping in this room and then my dad had finished the room like across from this room. So it was just my room that he was finishing up. But he said that I went from being in bed in this room, walked out to the other room, and then sat down on the chair, and then walked back out and came to the bed. And like that they were all freaked out because they didn't believe him, and then they like finally saw it. But who knows? I mean, I was asleep, so I never saw it, and he never took a video of me. I don't think so.
Well,
then again, I don't think phones were like that good during that time.
And I don't think everyone had like a camera.
Yeah. But yeah, I used to sleepwalk. I don't think I do it anymore. I mean, I've never had like an occurrence happen where like I'm not in my bed or something moves around, Mm-hmm. But yeah. Or you remember when you were little and you'd fall asleep in the car and your parent would take you to your bed? So you'd be dead asleep and then you'd be dead asleep in the car and then you'd wake up in your bed. Like,
what the fuck? Dude, I remember that. Well, I remember the time that it stopped because you know me, I'm a pretty big guy.
We got too big over here.
Mm-hmm. I remember falling asleep in the car, and during that time, like, I'm pretty sure my dad had like the white truck, and that bitch was lifted, like it was pretty tall. I couldn't even get up for a bit, and my dad tries picking me up, and then like somehow I almost fall, and like I'm pretty sure I just scraped the shit out of my leg.
Sheesh.
And he was like, damn, this guy's fucking heavy. And I'm just like, I wake
He's like,
up
get
in
your
the
ass
middle
up and go inside.
It's like, is this how I've been getting to my room from the car? It was you this whole entire time?
That's funny.
I was like, shut up and go to your room.
And I even remember the times when like you weren't fully asleep and you'd still pretend to be asleep. So
just so that way they could take you.
Those are like those fond like being a kid memories. Okay, so lastly, I have a story, and my sister-in-law Sarah actually told me this story, so I'm kind of retelling it. So if I get some things wrong, I'm sorry. I probably should have checked with her first just to get the story fully right, you know. But here it goes from memory, guys. Let me take a little sip of this tea.
Brought to you by Kevin Munoz.
Okay, so there's this woman, and she lives in the countryside. Closest house to her is about a mile away, and she lives with her pet dog. But other than that, she's on her own. So one night, she's watching TV, and it's raining, there's a thunderstorm, weather's pretty bad, and suddenly the lights go out. And the thing is, like, her breaker, like for the light switches and stuff, is in the attic. So she's like, I gotta go to the breaker and turn these lights back on. But the house is completely pitch black. And it's like older times. She doesn't have a phone. She's not really into technology like that. Like, aside from her TV, that's probably the only technology she really has. But that means that she has to go up to the attic with no lights. So she's walking through her house, you know, using her hands to feel the way. And obviously, when you live in a house for a while, you kind of know the layout. So she gets to the stairs and she calls her dog over. So her dog goes over to her. She feels him press up against her, like her leg. And she pets him, and the dog licks her. So she's like, okay, my dog's going to come up with me, you know. So she goes up a couple of stairs, and she kind of pets the dog. She's feeling a little uneasy, a little scared. So she pets the dog for reassurance. The dog licks her hand. They keep going up. Every 2-3 steps, same thing. Pets the dog. Dog licks her hand for reassurance. And then finally she gets up to the room where the breaker is. And she's feeling her way through. Gets the breaker. Finds the switch that turns the lights back on. Mm-hmm. And she turns around. And she sees that in that room, on the floor, is her dog. And her dog is all bloody. Her dog is dead. And she looks up and there's a mirror in that room, and written in the dog's blood, it says, "You're next." So the thing is, what was licking her hand as she was going up the stairs? That is a story. What did you think?
I don't know.
You didn't think it was scary?
I mean,
probably my delivery isn't the best. I think.
I mean,
I did. I'm gonna be honest with you guys. It's gonna be cut out, but I tried telling the story like 2 times already. And I kept messing up because I kept leaving out details that we were gonna need for later. So I haven't heard the beginning of it like 2-3 times. So he's probably annoyed about that.
I mean, yes and no. Like yes, it is a scary story. Well, for someone, right? But for me, like, okay, you could have done a better job of like saying it out like this and that. But yes, that is generally scary. If did it actually happen?
I don't think so. I don't know.
It's just a story that's
it's just like a scary story
that people
say.
Yeah, like La Llorona, or did I say that right?
Yeah, I don't know.
Like a story like that, like like this,
like an urban legend.
Mm-hmm. But then again, like on the off possibility that it actually is real.
I think it's just with the scary stories, you got to put yourself in that mindset that it could possibly be real. You know?
Yeah, like what the fuck
it's
is actually
like, what was licking up on her? You know?
It was Beelzebub licking her hand, going.
Magua. But yeah, those were the stories I had for you guys for this second part to the scary stories. Hopefully my voice didn't sound too bad. Like I said, I've been sick. Mm-hmm. And anything else you want to add, Ivan, before we say goodbye?
Yeah. Take care, brush your hair. No, I'm joking. Sorry, I've been watching a whole lot of TikTok, and one of the guys that I'd be watching is Koosh, I think.
Koosh? Koosh?
No, Koosh.
He's and like, what is his content?
I'm pretty sure you've seen it. It's like he's big into the Twizzlers. The fuck does that mean? And
settle down.
Settle down.
I'd be using that on our TikToks.
Yeah.
But yeah, guys. So hopefully you guys enjoyed that episode, and we'll catch you guys next week.
Yeah. See ya. Bye, bitches.